Good morning, students. So, today we have someone who actually embodies hard work, perseverance, a UPSC topper. So, with immense pleasure, I welcome you, Harikrishnan, rank 755. So, this is for you from the team of Legacy IAS. So, he is going to guide you for how to prepare this examination, optional, everything. He's going to tell you the strategy. Over to you.
Hi everyone, good morning. How are you? I think there is no one who has given any attempts before this, right? This is the first. Great. How are the classes? What do you feel about UPSC? Anyone? Huh? It is a question of survival. Fine. Why did you want to go for civil services? Because these days I feel like there are multiple options, right? So many options. You can do anything. You can get into any profession. But sitting here on the weekends and attending classes, why? Just tell me, because I don't want this to be like a class or something. Let this be like a proper discussion. Anyone? Why did you select? General inclination to work in government sector. What else? Anyone else has any other reason?
Because I see my mom doing this job, so that inspired me. That's it.
Mom is in civil service
Uh,
in government sector.
in she's a BCS officer.
Okay, good.
We have more opportunity outside. We can earn money and we can earn respect. But if we come into civil services, we can impact, change, bring an impact to the country
Great.
and do serve to the people.
Good, good. So I'll start by telling my experience. I'm a civil engineer. Finished my civil engineering. I went and started working, right? Worked for like around 3 months. Then after that, I felt like, what am I doing? Because I didn't feel like I'm doing something great here. So I thought I'll start my preparation, but that was a time when I couldn't join an institute or anything. So it was like, I can prepare, I can sit at home, but I'll have to prepare on my own. Started preparing on my own. After some time, I felt like I should not be at home, because it's very difficult to just sit in the home after your graduation and prepare. So I'm from Tamil Nadu, right? My native is Kerala. I'm settled in Tamil Nadu. So I shifted to Chennai. I thought I'll take up a job. So I took a job. I was preparing, working, staying alone. Did my first attempt. My first attempt was in 2017, right? Gave my first attempt, uh, cleared prelims, right? Mains I went, and I didn't prepare at all for mains because it was very difficult. Just 2 3 hours every day I used to get time. So I prepared well for prelims. I cleared it. That time I think the cutoff was 104 or something. I got 124. But then in mains I couldn't. Mains I missed by 7 marks. Next attempt I thought I'll put some extra effort. Studied very well. I couldn't even clear prelims. Then the third attempt, again studied, cleared prelims, mains, went to interview. In the final list, my name was not there. I missed it by 12 marks, right? Then that was a COVID time, so it was very difficult to just sit and prepare. So I thought, I have given 3 attempts. Let me take up into profession, some good profession, because UPSC is something which is very unpredictable. So I started working, and I continued my work throughout the COVID years, 3 years. I didn't give any UPSC attempts because I couldn't. Again, I was working full time. After 3 years, even though I was in a good work, which was paying me much better than what I would get in civil service, even then there was no satisfaction. So I felt like this is something where I would not be satisfied with a private job or a business or anything, and I have to do civil service. So after 3 years, I started again in 23, gave an attempt, cleared prelims, couldn't clear mains because mains had evolved a lot by that time. Next attempt, 24, I just left the job because I thought, for mains you need to give a lot of effort. You need to give the time. Prelims is based on your knowledge. So this is the reason I cleared prelims 4 times at a stretch. But because you have that knowledge, you have that reasoning ability, you can easily clear prelims. But mains is not like that. It's all about writing. You have to keep writing, and you have to practice a lot. Too much to study in a very limited time. So I thought I'll leave the job, and that was a good decision I took. Uh, I gave the attempt and I cleared. Right. Now the thing is, UPSC is so unpredictable. In this mains, I actually studied very well. I was expecting a great score in almost all the subjects. Even in interview, I did very well. The interview panel was very happy. So after coming out of the interview, I called my mom and I told this time I'm going to clear because the panel is very happy about it, and mains also I did well. But the thing is, my optional is anthro, and anthro being a very what do you say, a very famous optional. UPSC does this whenever one optional is doing very well, they try to pull it down, right? This earlier this happened with PubAd. PubAd at present has become very difficult to score. It happened with geography because too many people, especially from the southern states, were taking geography. So they pulled it down, and it has started with anthro this year. I used to score 270 plus in anthro all the time with job and preparation. So this time I thought I'm going to score 290 plus. I scored 242, which is very less in comparison to any optional. And that is where my score actually went down, right? But the one thing which I tell everyone is that when you prepare everything. Don't think that I will do very well in this paper or I will do very well in that paper, I'm going to score well. Because my strength is anthro, I always thought that I'm going to do well in anthro, but anthro pulled me down. But I had worked in each and every paper. My score in all the papers were good. My score in interview was also good, because of which I was able to get through, right? Else it would not have happened. So this is the most important thing when it comes to preparation, right? Now, because you are freshers, I'll just tell some basics what you should follow, right? How many of you here are working? Okay, good number of people are working. Fine. Full time, right? So see, the thing is, when it comes to UPSC, doesn't matter whether you are giving 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, nothing matters. Even people with 2-3 hours per day has cleared. The thing is, you need to follow the basics, right? Basics is that you need to have proper resources, proper sources, proper books, right? Do not follow books which are not required. This is a problem in the present times because a lot of people do this. We have too much of information available everywhere. Every institute gives a current affairs material, this material, that material. Nothing is required. You have limited set of books which you need to follow. For example, polity, Lakshmikant, nothing else. I have never read any book other than this, right? For geography, just NCRTs, nothing else. People tell a lot of other books, this and that. I never did any of those books. 6th to 12th, whatever NCRT is there, just follow it, right? So what I'm telling is, your in your institute they must have told you about the books list, whatever you need to follow. Just keep the resources limited, just follow them, revise them multiple times, right? Another thing, before this I used to follow until my last attempt, I did the same thing. Before starting any subject, first thing you need to do is go through PYQs, right? Last 10 years, if I have to start my polity now, what I will do is, I'll take a book of PYQ analysis, last 10-year PYQs, I'll go through everything, analyze the question, answer everything, note down the important topics, right? So I can, based on my experience, I can tell that you are going to get around 15 questions from polity, right? Out of this, you can expect two to three questions from fundamental rights, right? Three questions from directive principles and fundamental duties, right? And some questions from judiciary will be there, some questions from the central government, state government will be there. This is a trend they have been following since the last 10 years. It's not going to change, because in polity what else will you ask, right? Mostly it is based on the theory. So go through pyqs first before starting a subject. Just note down the important topics, so that when you start the subject you will know these are the topics I have to focus, right? uh, Go through the top pyqs first, go through the topic, analyze it completely. After that, attend tests, whatever tests you want to attend. There are a lot of tests available free online, you can attend it after that. Before doing this, don't go for any tests. This is one thing. There are five subjects which are the basics. If you have good hold on these five subjects, without any preparation, without any current affairs, you can clear prelims. This is why I used to clear prelims all the time. Polity, geography, economy, modern history, environment, right? Just five subjects. Five subjects, you know the basics, revise the basics very well in a very detailed way, you are going to clear the exam. Why? In polity you will get around 15 questions, geography 10 to 15 questions, economy again 10 to 12 questions, modern history these days the questions has reduced, but even then you will get 3 to 4 questions, environment around 8 to 10 questions, right? So you are going to get good number of questions from these subjects, right? So focus on these five subjects. That's it. Now coming to current affairs, what I used to do is read newspaper every day. I used to take my own notes, never used to follow any current affairs material. If you do not have that much time, uh, follow one material. There is no good or excellent material when it comes to current affairs, right? Every institute try to give their own material. You can research, you can do a little bit of research by seeing which material is good. Just follow one proper magazine, that is more than sufficient. If you are following a magazine, you don't have to spend time in reading reading a newspaper. If you are reading newspaper and making notes, you don't have to follow any other material, right? Just follow one material for current affairs, fix 2 hours every day for current affairs. That is more than sufficient, right? I see students doing this thing where they go through multiple current affairs material. In prelims you are going to get just 20 questions from current affairs. Why do you need multiple material? Most of the questions are from static, right? 75 percentage of the questions are going to be static. So you have to follow that, you have to give importance to static, right? So this is for current affairs. The basic preparation, it should have prelims and mains preparation at the same time, right? You cannot think that let me clear prelims first. There is no use in it. If you ask me, I would tell it's better to not clear prelims. If you clear prelims, in 3 months you are going to write mains. If you are not prepared for mains, you are going to fail in the mains. Mains result will come 2 months after the exam. So for the next 5 months you are not going to prepare anything. Once the results come, you will be having just 3 to 4 months for the next prelims, and you won't be prepared for that. So you will get into this very bad vicious cycle of writing prelims again and again, writing multiple attempts again and again, right? So what I would suggest is prepare for prelims and mains at the same time. How do you do that? Just you are analyzing the pyqs, analyze the pyqs for mains also. Do one or two answers every day, just write one answer every day, that is more than sufficient. And optional subject, right? Have you guys selected your optional? No, it is fine. You just have to put in a little extra effort. That's it. Anthro has become a target. You have to put in a lot of extra effort. So, are you attending any classes? Not yet. If you are taking classes, you can take classes, get the notes and everything. But you have to prepare some notes on your own too. What is it? So that is the problem, right? Static portion is more. This is the reason most of the people select. But if you look at 2024 paper, in paper 2, the the current affairs was higher than the static. They had given, they had flooded the paper with current affairs, which has never happened in Anthro. Throughout the history of Anthro, this has never happened. In 2024, they gave too many current affairs based questions. Hmm. Hmm. So the thing is, at present, PSIR is a very good optional. PSIR is scoring very well. Most of the people in the top 100, you see, they are PSIR candidates, right? So see, the thing is, when it comes to the results, 1,000 candidates are getting selected, right? Almost everyone has prepared the same thing. Everyone has same knowledge. Everyone is almost same in everything. The only difference happens with interview and optional subject, right? Everything else is the same. You just take their GS marks and SA marks, you compare them. Almost the top, this year's AR1, her marks in GS and SA is lesser than mine, right? So her marks was really good in optional and her and an interview, right? So just these two are the things that makes difference. Now, as you told, in Anthro, you have to do current affairs now. But when you take other optionals, for example, PSIR, they already do current affairs, right? So this is the difference. Now you are in a balance. Now you have to take that extra effort. So until last year, if I had known that they are going to ask current affairs, I'll prepare current affairs. It's not a big deal. You just need to see what are the recent trends, what are the recent important events, link it with Anthro and make some notes. You have Chat GPT these days, man. You don't have to worry about anything, right? You just have to, for example, COVID and Anthro. Just go to Chat GPT and tell that from an anthropologist perspective, analyze what are the problems faced by the tribes of India during the COVID times. It will give the entire content. You just have to prepare it. That's it, right? So this is already there in other optional. You just have to do this extra work this time. That's it. Static is the same, just current affairs you have to build a little bit, right? So you can do that. Not a big deal, right? So optional, you start from the beginning. You cannot keep optional towards the end. Reason being, in optional you are supposed to have expertise. In GS you are supposed to have a general knowledge. That is why the name general studies, right? So you just need to have a general knowledge. That's it. You can write very general points, but in optional you have to write specific scholarly points. If you have selected geography as an optional, you have to write the content from a geologist point of view. If you have sociology as an optional, you have to write like a sociologist. That is what is expected. So you cannot prepare this in 3 months. It takes an entire year. So daily fits 2 hours for your current affairs. If you are working and you have limited time, you can just follow one good magazine, 1 hour. 1 hour, read 10 pages. Most of the magazines have around 120 pages, I think, right? So read 10 pages every day. In 12 days, your this will be done, right? Your content is good. I mean, your current affairs for the entire month is done. So nothing to worry about. Current affairs daily 1 to 2 hours. Optional daily 1 hour for sure. 1 to 2 hours again. And whatever the rest of the time you have, prepare GS. And why people feel that it is very hectic is because they follow multiple materials, which is not required. For me, the NCRTs are the most important. You just follow NCRTs, you are going to have a hold on everything when it comes to prelims, even for mains. For history, people follow multiple materials. I just followed NCRTs, nothing else. Again, for geography, multiple material, I just followed NCRT. That's it. Even for economy, I just followed NCRT because they are asking very basic things. You don't need to be an economist or a person with a history honors or something, right? So you just need the basics. One very important point is CSAT, right? Uh, Analyze yourself whether you are good at CSAT. How many engineers here? Okay, good. So mostly engineers are good in CSAT. But even then, what I would suggest is, before preparing for CSAT, just take one previous year question paper and solve it. If you are able to score 80, around 80, you don't need any specific preparation for CSAT. If you are scoring lesser than 80, you need to prepare a little bit. So there are certain topics in CSAT which are generally repeating. Just find out what are these topics and try to prepare a little bit for that, and do not keep CSAT towards the end. Most of the, I know a friend who is already in service. In 24 he wrote for rank improvement. He got around 116 something in GS1. In CSAT he didn't clear, who is already in service. So you cannot leave CSAT towards the end. So you have to prepare CSAT in the beginning itself, so that towards the end you have good amount of time for your revision, right? So this is the basics for prelims. When it comes to mains, I would say three papers are extremely important. One is essay, second one is ethics, third one is your optional, right? Essay has always been a strong point for me. I had limited time, so for GS I could not study a lot of things. I do not have that much time to prepare too much of content. So my thing is that in essay I'll score good, in anthro I'll score good, in ethics I'll score good. So even in this year, my score in essay was really good, right? So that was one another reason why I could clear it. So essay is very important. You should start preparing a little bit about essay from the beginning, right? Your optional, you should be an expert in your optional. Try to always score 270 plus in optional. And ethics, you have to be good at ethics. Ethics is a very small subject, very limited content, but you need to write in a very good way. Your writing should be extremely good. If you are able to do that, you are going to score well in your mains, right? Interview is not a problem. After mains you have good amount of time to prepare for interview. You can do it at that time. And I think there are good amount of guidance available for interview. You just need to know how to speak. You just need to have some basic values. Once you have that, you are going to do well, very well in interview. In interview people score less when they do some mistakes. Like there is a friend of mine, this time he got just 140 in interview, which is considered to be 120, which is considered to be very less. So he went to the interview. The interviewer asked some question, and he thought that it is a political question. And he could have told that, sir, I'm not able to come up with an answer, or I don't know the answer for this. But he became impulsive. He told the interviewer, sir, are you supposed to ask this kind of question? So the interviewer, and that too to the chairman of the board. The chairman got completely shocked and was like, he asked others, did I tell anything wrong? Then everyone told, no, sir, it was fine. He came out, and then he realized that he did a mistake. And he called me and he told that this happened. I was like, you start preparing for next prelims because this is going to be done. This is, I mean, when someone is asking something, even if it is a difficult question, even if it is a question which is not supposed to happen, you cannot tell that, are you supposed to ask this kind of, you can try to, change the topic, or you can try to avoid it. You can always tell, I don't know. They are going to just ask the next question. They'll think that, fine, this guy don't know and he is honest about it. But you cannot challenge that person, right? So these kind of mistakes will pull you down in interview. Other than that, I think interview is going to be totally fine, right? Apart from this, for prelims, mains, and fine, I'll just give some basic sources, whatever I have followed, so that you can make use of it. When it comes to polity, Lakshmikant. Economy, geography, and history. For all these things, just NCRTs. Nothing else. Environment, again, another very important subject. When it comes to environment, current affairs is the most important part. So any current affairs that comes in environment, I used to make a detailed notes of it. That's it. For environment, it is a very unconventional method, but I did not study any book for environment because I did an analysis of PYQs. I understood that almost 90% of the questions from environment in mains and prelims is current affairs. So what I used to do is, for example, there is a COP convention happening, right? I used to take a detailed notes about it from multiple resources online, make a separate note. That's it, right? Nothing else. Polity, economy, geography, history, environment, what other things are there? Everything else, like for example, international relations, right? Science and tech. Again, for science and tech, I would say in NCRT is more than enough. NCRT plus current affairs. Science and tech is a 100% current affairs based subject. So you just follow the current affairs, go through the, for example, artificial intelligence, everything about artificial intelligence. What is generative AI? What exactly is the process that goes on? So it should not be like, for example, if I tell what is artificial intelligence, you cannot just give the basic definition that artificial intelligence is when machines try to reciprocate a human brain and make decisions. That is a basic definition. How does this happen? Right? From where do they get the data? Right? And is there any convention to control artificial intelligence? Is there any laws, regulations to manage this artificial intelligence completely? Is there something like that? Right? There was a summit that happened in France last year where they decided that throughout the world there should be a proper set of laws and regulations to control artificial intelligence. So these things you need to know. For science, IR, and uh, any other subject, right? Any other miscellaneous subject, it is completely current affairs based. Just need to have a good hold on current affairs. From polity, you can expect always around 15 questions. From economy, again you can expect around 8 to 10 questions. From geography, again 10 questions. From history, combined, ancient, medieval, and modern, all combined, you can expect around 10 to 15 questions. Again, from environment, you can expect around 8 to 10 questions, right? All the other things comes in this current affairs. But what people do, people spend too much of time in reading current affairs, which is actually not required, right? You just have a basics of all these things, you're going to do well. Nothing else, right? Now, when it comes to sources, resources, books, do you have any specific doubt? Current affairs, what to read, what not to read? Do you have any specific doubts?
Like it's not about the specific book, sir. It's about how to read the particular chapters or
Huh.
content in a book. There should be a particular approach, right?
Yes.
Because we can't just study entire theory from end to
Right.
end. We should have that ability to shrink, and for the next revision, we should only focus on those parts which you have highlighted or anything. How should be that?
Right, that's a very good point. The thing is, you cannot give equal importance to everything. So this is the reason I told first thing, go through PYQs. When you go through PYQs, you will know from which topics they are asking questions and what kind of questions are asked. So in polity, there are the chapter 1 to chapter 9 of Lakshmikant. Extremely important. Most of the questions come from just 9 chapters. Very simple. Half of the questions come from that, right? And if you look at the questions, some questions are, if there are 15 questions, out of that, around 5 questions are straightforward, very easy questions. Rest of the questions are very twisted. Twisted in the sense they don't ask anything difficult. They just ask certain questions which are very analytical in nature, where you need to have an in-depth idea about it. For example, right to privacy, right? If I ask what is right to privacy, what will you answer? What is right to privacy? Have you attended polity classes? So right to privacy comes under which article? Article 21, right? So what does it mean? So if you know that Article 21 talks about right to privacy, you are good to write SSC exam, right? Because they are going to ask facts. When you write UPSC exam, you need to tell what is right to privacy. So what is right to privacy? Just give me a one-liner.
You have the right to protect your information without curtailing it to yourself.
Without any invasion of
Okay,
Third party.
all right. So if you have certain information, you are the owner of the information, right? You are the owner of the information. Now, anyone else cannot come and take away that information without your permission. This is right to privacy. Now, there is one particular Supreme Court judgment which. What's happening here? All right. So, there is a particular Supreme Court judgment which ensured right to privacy as a fundamental right in India. Which judgment is that? K.S. Puttaswamy judgment. So you need to know that. What is the origin of this concept? Origin of the concept is this. K.S. Puttaswamy judgment gave right to privacy as a fundamental right. What are all the things that come under right to privacy? Is it just information? Is there something else? Right? So you need to have a complete idea about it. Is there any law in India which protects right to privacy? Is there any law? Data Protection Act, right? So this much information you need. If you have this much information, you are going to do well in polity, right? And when it comes to history, for example, let's say medieval history. I never study medieval history. I have read medieval history, but I don't read it from an examination point. I just give a glance. That's it. Because they are going to ask one or two questions from medieval history. In mains, there are going to be 0 questions. Why would I spend that much time? Right. So I don't give much time for medieval history. Modern history, I would give very good amount of time. Reason being, even if in prelims they are asking less question, in mains they are going to ask a lot of questions. Around 5 questions will come from modern history. I need to have a complete idea about it. Now, looking at prelims paper, you will feel like they are going to ask just facts. So let me just read the facts. Right? This paper was published by this national leader. This national leader did these things. Non-cooperation movement started in 1920, 1922 it ended. Which place it started. These kind of things are for prelims. But if you look at mains, questions are completely different. They will ask questions like why the later Mughals were weak. What are the reasons? What are the reasons for British to come and capture such a big power like India very easily? So you need to have content for that. So you need to have a complete idea about it, right? So this is the reason I am telling you, just go through PYQs for prelims and mains. You will get a complete idea of how to approach a particular subject. Then when you are reading a particular subject in your book, what you have to do is underline the important points, highlight the important points, so that when you revise later, you don't have to read the entire book. You know that this is the point I need more. This is the point I need to focus more. Next point, a lot of people do this. They make short notes from NCRTs and from books, which I generally avoid. I generally tell everyone not to do that because it's a very highly time consuming process. Instead of that, you can make notes from newspaper, which will actually help you in your mains. You can just underline the points directly in the book. You can highlight the points directly in the book. That itself is going to be sufficient, right? Why would you need to make separate notes? It is going to consume a lot of time. Instead, you can revise 2-3 times, right? So this answers your question. How to approach each and every subject. You cannot read everything in an equal manner. You have to prioritize. Even in polity, there are certain chapters which are never asked in exam. So why would I focus on those chapters? I would just leave those chapters, right? Again, even in economy, there are multiple chapters from which question never comes. Why would I spend much time in those things, right? So go through which points are important, which chapters are important, and then you can focus on that. Apart from this, anything else when it comes to sources, books, how to read, how, how to make notes of current affairs? Okay. Tell me some important current affairs that happened in the recent times. Okay, fine. Ukraine-Russia war, right? Let's say Ukraine-Russia war. So if I am a person who has gone through the PYQs in a very good way, I know what kind of questions they can ask from current affairs. First thing I would do is map, right? Entire map of Russia, entire map of Ukraine. I would see what are the neighboring countries of Russia, what are the neighboring countries of Ukraine. Uh, is there any important lake or sea or ocean that these two countries border touches, right? And any important places that comes in news. So Russia is invading Ukraine specifically in certain places which are generally coming in news. So I need to know these places come under this particular country, right? So what kind of questions they are giving? They are giving 4 to 5 places and they are asking which of these places comes under Ukraine, right? Or they are giving 7 to 8 places and they are telling which among these 7 to 8 countries, and they are asking which among these countries border Russia or border Ukraine. So I need to know this. So first important point is map, right? Second, what exactly is the issue? What exactly is the issue? Why this war is happening? Ukraine wants to join NATO, right? So here the keyword is NATO. Then anything else other than this? Russia's territorial expansion, but we cannot get much question in prelims about that. So the major point is NATO. 2 years they have asked questions about NATO in 25, in 24 and 20. I think in 25 also. I don't know. So about NATO, what are all the things I need to know? What exactly is it? Right? What is the aim or objective of NATO? How many members are there at present? Right? Other than this, an important point from mains perspective, India's perspective. What is India's perspective about NATO? Do we have a positive alignment towards it? Do we have a negative alignment towards it? These kind of things, right? Now, finally, you have seen the map, you have seen the issue, and finally, India's take on the entire issue. What is India's take on this entire issue? What do we tell? What is our foreign policy towards? Yeah, we are not aligned towards any country. Then, yeah, we want to solve this issue through diplomacy, not arms. Right? These are the things. Other than this, one important thing is summits. When it comes to international relation, was there any summit that happened related to this issue? Right? So recently there was a summit. Where did it happen? Alaska. That's it. Nothing else. You just need to know these things about this issue. So you don't have to sit and study for 1 hour, 2 hour about this entire issue. All you need to know is this much. If you know this much, you have covered everything from prelims and mains point of view. How did I get to know this? PYQs. I look at the PYQs, I can feel that these are the questions they will ask. And they are going to ask the same kind of questions. Think from an examiner's point of view. If I am told by UPSC to take 2 to 3 questions from international relations, what will I do? First, I'll think what kind of questions they have asked earlier. I'll look at the last 10 to 15 years of international relations question. I will try to take questions in the same way so that my questions won't get rejected, right? So everyone takes the questions in this manner only. This is the reason, unless and until UPSC tells that there is a there should be a change of trend and you should ask question in this way, they are going to stick with PYQs. This is why mostly the trend is the same, right? So something like this, right? From current affairs, this is how you need to make notes. Okay, if you are able to make notes, good, well and good. If you have time constraints, you won't be able to make notes, just follow a very good magazine. They would have covered everything in a nice way. I never followed anything in particular. So I'm not able to, I'm not in a position to tell. Until and unless I know, I won't be able to tell, right? So I just did newspaper. I used to read newspaper, so I know these are the angles I need to know. So I just do a little bit of research. There is an app, there is a software called Evernote, right? So I need to, what I would do is I would make separate folders in Evernote. For international relations, I have a separate folder. For science and tech, I have a separate folder. So in that folder, I'll make separate headings and I'll take the notes. That's it. Nothing else, right? So this is the method I followed. If you can, you do it. Else, you can just follow any good magazine. Just research a little bit, you will find something good.
So how recently do we like come back to the topic and revise? Like, how do we make things concise? Like, for example, article is about like a page or something. Then how do you bring it down and how do you try to analyze that what is important and what is not, and how recently do you like how frequently do you
Do you
memorize or
revise?
like revise?
Right. Revision for static is something that has to go hand in hand. So if you have completed your polity and you have started economy, try to keep half an hour at least to revise the previous subject. Else you will forget. You are going to forget. So revision is a part of your day-to-day routine. Other than your current affairs, optional, mains answer writing, revision is something you have to do. So keep doing it side by side. That is one thing. For current affairs, what I used to do is, because I make notes on my own, I never used to revise current affairs. For example, if there is a Russia-Ukraine issue, I would have made a notes like this already. If there is an editorial related to Russia-Ukraine, I'm reading it. Anyways, I read newspaper every day. I'm reading it. If there is some additional point, I'll come to my notes and I'll take a note of that point also here. So when I'm doing that, I'm going to take a look at the entire points one more time, right? So revision for current affairs will happen that way. So I never used to do separate revision for current affairs. Every time, and the issues will keep repeating again and again. If I have made a notes for artificial intelligence, some new information comes related to artificial intelligence, I'll just take that information, paste it here. I'll take a look at the entire article one time. That's it. So revision is something which is extremely important, especially because of the recent trend. Recent trend is that prelims has become very unpredictable, right? Mains has become predictable and prelims has become extremely unpredictable. Earlier it was not like this. Earlier what they used to do is, if you have good amount of knowledge, they are going to ask very objective questions, analytical reasoning based questions. If you have the content, if you have the knowledge to think a little bit, you will easily clear prelims. Now the things have changed a lot. They are asking random questions a lot. So you need to have a very wide exposure about everything. You cannot skip any subject. You have to be good in almost all the subject. Competition has increased extremely high, right? So this is about revision tactics, right? So notes making we have covered, important sources we have covered. How to select optional? Like, is there anyone who has not selected optional? Okay. And when did you start your preparation? In Feb. Okay. Uh, right. Why didn't you choose optional yet?
Because there's a huge confusion. I'm still in college. I'm doing my third year, and my
Okay.
majors are political science and economics. So I have a major inclination towards like ESIR, obviously, but then the amount of current affairs and it being a very dynamic subject is little concerning me, and for the fact that I'm not that good in IR too, so I have an inclination towards sociology also because I like analyzing things and then writing about it. So I'm
Okay.
still confused about it. And then I took up the optional test also,
Okay.
in which my scores were really similar. I got 18 and 17 for both the subjects, so it increased more of confusion.
Okay. Fine. How to select optional? We'll just have a discussion about it because a lot of people has not selected. First and foremost thing is interest. No matter whether the subject is good or not, if you do not have interest in that subject, you are not going to do well, right? Even it is, for example, PSAR these days it is doing really good, but if you have no interest in that subject, if you are not interested in international relations, for example, it won't be easy for you to prepare. And again, as I told, you need to prepare to such an extent you become an expert in that, right? You should obtain that scholarly opinion about each and every topic. So interest is the foremost thing. Second one, trend. What is the recent trend? If someone asks me, can I take geography as an optional, I would say until and unless you are an expert in geography already, don't go for it. Same goes with PubAd also. Even for medical science, even if it is a doctor, I would suggest try to go for anthro rather than medical science, because scoring good marks in medical science is extremely difficult, right? You need to write from a very different point of view, and guidance are very less, right? So what is the recent trend? In the present trend, PSIR is doing good, sociology is doing good. Other than that, this year they have tried to pull up the normal subjects a little bit. So there are certain subjects which generally people don't take. For example, philosophy. Philosophy has surprisingly done well. Psychology, it has done well. Economy, economics. Economics has actually done well this year. These are subjects which generally people do not take. So the idea of UPSC is that they don't want this thing where just 3 4 optionals will dominate everything. So they are trying to make a balance. That is the reason why pulling down anthro. So I wrote my mains in Bangalore, right? And during your mains, during your optional subject, they will post all the roll numbers and the specific optionals. They try to put the similar optionals in similar classes, right? So I was so shocked in when I went for my mains in 24. 80 percentage of the entire center was from anthro, which was really shocking. I felt like, okay, this is a very bad thing to happen to anthro. This many 80 percentage of the people writing just one subject. So obviously it is going to happen. They are going to make anthro a little difficult to score, right? So trend is very important. As I told, PSIR, sociology, major optionals which are doing good. Minor optionals are doing good too. So if you are from an engineering background, let's say you are a civil engineer, you can actually take civil engineering. It is actually doing good. Subjects like philosophy, psychology, all these optionals are actually doing good. Because again, another thing, the number of people who appear from those subjects are very less. As I told, in anthro, huge amount of people are appearing. So competition is very high. Smaller optionals, very less people appear, very minimal content, no much guidance. So if you write well, you are going to score good marks, right? I think in 23 something, someone scored 330 marks in economics optional. Average marks of optional subject is 260 to 250 to 260 for any optional. Someone is scoring 330, that means 80 marks above an average mark. Because of that one particular paper, he cleared the exam, right? So trend is something which is very important. You need to focus on this. Third one is guidance. You can be an expert in medical science, you can be an expert in engineering, your own engineering, but when it comes to UPSC mains, you have to write it in a different way, right? You have to write everything in a very different way. It's not like you can just give your expertise and you are going to score marks. There is a way of writing. So a little bit of guidance when it comes to optional is required. For I have never taken any guidance for any subject specifically, but based on my experience, I would say at least for optional subject you can take some kind of a guidance, right? At least for answer writing, at least take a test series or something once you clear your prelims, but prepare from the beginning, right? Guidance is very important. Interest, trend, guidance. Yeah. Syllabus, see, almost all subjects have similar amount of syllabus, right? Content, we can tell content, the amount of content you need to prepare. Again, for smaller optionals, you need the syllabus can be less, but you need to write uh, in a very good way. Whatever smaller content are there, you need to write extremely good, then you will score marks, right? So what is the use if you prepare, if you feel like this subject has smaller content, you prepare it easily and you write well, but you don't score well, right? A subject like PSIR, huge content, right? Huge syllabus. You need to keep yourself updated every time. It is very difficult to prepare, but you write average content, and if you score 270 plus, right? So that doesn't actually matter, right? The most important thing is these three things, right? And I would advise within 2 months of starting your preparation, you have to choose an option and you have to start preparing for it, because it takes a lot of time, right? So this is about how to select your optional subject, right? Yeah.
Maybe it's a silly question.
No, no question is a silly question. You ask anything, whatever it is.
So, like, if we exclude current affairs, so how much time we have to spend every subject? Minimum times, like in hours, 120, 130. It's a depend every
It actually depends on the
person
person.
to person. Also, it's a depend on the strategy kind of things. But as per your thinking, how much you can spend, or you can suggest anything.
See, for polity, I would suggest you spend around 20 to 1 month, 20 days to 1 month for polity, because the importance of the subject is very high. For economy, maybe 2 to 3 weeks for economy. For polity, 1 month. For economy, 3 weeks, let's say, right? For modern history, again, you have to spend around 3 weeks, right? Environment, it's just current affairs, so it is a day-to-day thing. If you need to read the content, if you need to read the basics, for environment, 10 days, not more than that, right? What other, ancient and medieval together, do not spend much time, because the questions are extremely random, very very random questions. So spending too much time doesn't make much sense, right? You spend 1 month, 2 month, but even if you know everything, if you have studied everything in ancient and medieval, we cannot tell for sure that are you going to write this question, because the questions are completely random. I don't know from where they take those questions, right? Like in 2024 there was a question about Sangam literature. I am from Tamil Nadu, so I know completely about Sangam literature. I have studied everything, but they just gave a term, and that too from ancient Tamil, which is like 2500 years old. They gave a term and they were asking, what does this mean? I have no idea about, and I can think how other people from the northern parts of the country would, look at that question. So I just looked at it. Even by with all the Tamil knowledge I have, I couldn't understand that word at all. So I just skipped that question, right? So this is what is happening with ancient and medieval. So it doesn't make much sense to spend a lot of time. You can just spend 3 weeks in completing both ancient and medieval together, right? Um, what else is there?
Regarding the language papers and all that.
Okay, so timing is fine. This is the basic time, right? Other than that, you keep revising, right? So optional is done. About language paper.
Were you writing Tamil, sir?
Yeah, I took Tamil as my language. My native language is Malayalam, and I have good hold in Hindi also, but I used Tamil because throughout my school I have gone with Tamil. The thing about language paper, what are the important things you need to know? So if you already have good English knowledge, you don't have to worry about English at all. Don't need to make any preparation. All you need to do is just take a look at the previous year question. What are the things they have asked? So they will ask a small essay of, I think, 4 pages, small essay, and they'll give a very big paragraph. They will ask you to summarize it to 1/3, right? And they will give what is this, synonyms, antonyms, these kind of things, which is generally very easy if you have a basic idea about English, right? So for English, unless and until you have some big problems with the subject, you don't have to worry, right? No, don't need any preparation. About the regional language, right? Always go with a subject where you have good reading and writing skill. You don't have to go with your native language. Whatever language you have good reading and writing skill, go with that. And grammar is very important for this. Can't do any grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes. They will reduce marks, right? So generally when it comes to language paper, they try to pass everyone. They don't try to pull anyone down unless you did really bad, right? So for example, if you are writing from Kannada, and a Kannada professor is going to evaluate, and if he feels like this person has actually insulted my language, he is obviously going to, reduce marks for you. So that is important. Again, the same goes with essay paper, right? In essay paper, I would always tell that don't do basic grammar mistakes, because an English professor is going to evaluate your copy, and you do basic mistakes like past tense, present tense, etc. He will feel that doesn't worth it. Obviously, you become an officer, you become an IAS officer, you go for a press meet and you do grammar mistakes. Doesn't look good, right? So that is important. For language paper, this is all. Select a subject where you are good at reading and writing. Select a subject where you don't have grammar problems. Most of us would not have done anything in regional paper after our school time. So before your mains exam, just do a little bit of writing practice. Just take up, what I used to do is I used to take a local newspaper and I used to try to write it in a faster manner, so that my mind and hand get accommodated with the script. That much is more than sufficient. You don't have to.
Grammar, were you referring to the school syllabus?
No, no, nothing. No preparation at all. When it comes to language paper, you don't need any preparation. You will be having the basic grammar with you, right? They are not going to ask expert level grammar at all. Basic communication, whatever you are having on a day-to-day basis, that much grammar is enough.
Like mine is Tamil too.
Okay.
The basic Ilakkanam we learned in school is enough.
That's enough, more than enough. You don't even need to go and read or do anything. Basic knowledge, whatever you have, that is more than sufficient, right?
For all the languages.
Any language, whatever language you are taking, right? One extremely important thing I wanted to tell you is essay. Before writing a good essay, you need to have a good hold on all the subjects. That's important, right? Because you need to have you need to write a topic from multiple dimensions. So when you're writing from multiple dimensions, you need to bring in some amount of history to it, polity to it, international relations to it. So you need to first finish the subjects. That is one thing. Second thing, analyze the previous year toppers copies. There are a lot of toppers copies available online. Go through those copies. You will know how they have written an introduction, how they have written multiple dimensions, how they have written a conclusion, right? This applies to mains answers also. Going through toppers copies is important, so that you know how to write. These two things. Other than this, do something extra. For example, I read books a lot. So whenever I write essay, I take references from specific books. So if I'm writing an example about something, I will tell that in this particular book written by this particular author, this point was given, and based on that we can come to this kind of a conclusion. Right? So I'll make that reference. And I watch a lot of public speeches and documentaries, etc. So I would take reference from that and I would mention here. So that gives a different angle. Instead of writing same kind of essay, everyone will write similar kind of essays. So you write something different, you are going to get awarded good marks, right? So this is one reason I used to get good marks in essay all the time. For example, last year there was a question about preservation of forests, right? So I looked at the topic. I remembered a good poem written by William Wordsworth about forest, about nature. So I started with that poem. I wrote 4 lines of that poem, and I told that as referred by William Wordsworth in his poem, this the above given line shows the importance of nature and I mean the importance of nature for human survival. Then I started my introduction. So it shows, it just hits the spot, right? Like someone reading it, they feel that okay, within a limited time, this guy could think about that poem, and he wrote those 4 lines without any mistakes. Again, you cannot do mistakes because English professors are going to evaluate and they know whether it is correct or not. So for essay, you need to do a little extra, collect a lot of quotes, read something extra. If you are watching some movies or something, instead of spending time in Instagram reels, you can actually go through some documentaries or some informative videos, philosophy based videos. Philosophy has become very important. The essay itself is called as philosophical essay these days, right? Earlier they used to give random essays about science and tech, international relations, but essay has become philosophical these days, so they expect you to be thinking from a philosophical point of view. So write something from Socrates teaching, from Gandhi's teaching. They just want a civil servant to be someone who reads a lot of things and accumulate knowledge from multiple resources. That's all about essay, right? Essay writing you can start towards the end, after completing your basic subjects, right? One again, very important factor is ethics, right? Ethics in the entire GS preparation, ethics is to be given importance, right? So that's all. I don't want to explain in deep about mains because you are in the starting stage. These are the basics. This much is sufficient. Now, another important thing is, the most important thing is interview, right? Interview is very important, and at present you won't be able to do anything, but some basic things you can start from now. One thing is speaking. So if you have decided to, like, I hope all of you are giving your interview in English, right? Is there anyone who is going to do it in the regional language or Hindi? No, right? You need to develop speaking skills, right? If you are an introvert who doesn't speak much, change it. A civil servant can never be an introvert. You have to go to random people, you have to talk to random people, you have to deal with politicians, you have to deal with normal people, you have to deal with uh, high end people, business oriented and high net worth individuals. Have to deal with everyone in one day. It doesn't mean whatever service you are in. So for example, if you are an IRS officer, it is not that you are going to sit in the office and look at taxation. You have to deal with the business problems, you have to deal with accounts related issue. There will be some tax compliance issue by someone, you have to deal with that. And you have to attend meetings with the finance minister, right? uh, Too many things will be there. IPS or IAS, obviously your work is completely on the field, so you have to deal with people. And unless you develop your communication skill, you are not going to do well in interview. So you cannot be an introvert, you have to talk, right? Second thing, try to be very honest. So if you don't have to lie about anything. If you have done a mistake, you have to accept it. Honesty is the most important thing that is tested in your interview. They just want to know if you are honest or not. I know a senior who is an IRS officer now. He cleared in his final attempt, right? It was his sixth attempt. So in his last interview, he scored 195, which is a very good. In interview, if you are able to score 170 plus, it's good, right? He scored 195. So when I asked him about his interview experience, what he told was, they asked a lot of factual questions, right? It was going like a quiz. He just told, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know for most of the questions. And it went for around 20 minutes. He thought that he had it in my mind, I'm done, right? Because all people, everyone has asked only factual question, and most of the things I have not answered. Finally, towards the end, someone asked about Sri Lankan Tamil issue. He's from Tamil Nadu, so they asked this issue. He gave very good answers. That's it. Just one topic, they had some continual like 3 to 4 questions on the same issue. He gave good answers, he came out and he was like, I won't clear. But he actually scored 195. The reason being, he got awarded for the honesty. Even though it was very embarrassing for him to accept that he don't know the answer for most of the questions. He just accepted that I don't know. What's the wrong in it, right? If you do not know, you do not know, and no one is expected to know each and everything down the sun, right? So he accepted it. So honesty is very important. The way you talk, when you talk like an officer, conduct yourself like an officer. That is very important. And what else? Give respect to the people you are talking to. Be very humble. Like, if you know answers, don't get too excited. If you do not know the answer, don't get too low. Be balanced in everything. So there is again, I'll give you one more example. There was a candidate, he is again my friend. When he went to interview, they asked him about India Pakistan issue, how to resolve this. So he said that we have to do dialogues, we have to talk, we cannot use arms and everything. Then the interviewer started grilling. It was like, we have been doing this since very long time, but there is no result. Pakistan keeps giving results through terrorism. How will you deal with a terrorist state? So they were driving him towards that point. And finally he gave up and he told that, yes sir, I feel like war is the final solution. We have to finish it through violence only. So they were like, fine, okay. And he got very less marks in interview, right? Because as a civil servant, you can never tell war is the final answer, right? You can use limited amount of power against anyone. As a peace-loving country, as a democracy, you cannot tell war is the final solution, right? So be very balanced. Do not get your emotional intelligence, right? What is emotional intelligence? It is an important factor in civil service. They check your honesty and your emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is that making sure the right kind of emotion comes out, right? Let's say for example, I'm taking class here. Let us assume that there is a student who is like, who keeps asking some very stupid silly questions in a very playful way, right? I have already cleared the exam. I have been through this process for a very long time. Now I cannot be very silly and shout at him, right? I have come here for a class. So I will have to ensure that I talk in a very diplomatic and decent way, even if the other person is acting like that. So this is something that is expected from you, right? And you need to think a little out of box. I'll give you one example from my own interview this year. I have my hobby as watching movies. So I watch what kind of movies, he asked. So I said I watch movies which are mostly artistic in nature, critically acclaimed kind of movies. So he asked a question. This was from the chairman. He asked, "Fine, you say that you watch artistic movies. So tell me what kind of movies." So I gave some movies which are mostly from 1960s and 70s, right? So the chairman asked me, so whatever movies you have told, they are old movies. So that shows that in the recent times, that kind of movies are not coming up. So what are the reasons, right? So I told that it is because the government has stopped funding. Earlier, the government used to have a film division of India, and this FDI used to fund for these kind of movies. But these days it is not happening. It is also because of globalization and private investments in the field of movies. Uh, this has stopped. The private sector has completely taken over, and people go for mostly entertainment based movies. So this is a normal answer. He told, this is fine, but I'm expecting something different, right? There is a people's angle to it. If you can think about it, right? So I thought for 5 seconds and then I told that India is a developing country with very big amount of population which is still under poverty or living in a middle class state. So for these people, movie is a medium of entertainment, right? They do not want to go to the movies to look at poverty and suffering because they are already living in poverty and suffering, right? So he laughed immediately and then he told, this is the exact answer I was expecting. So that happened in the beginning of the interview. So I knew that this interview is going to go well, right? So you need to think a little out of box, especially during the pressure situation. I'll give you one more example. friend of mine who is in Indian Revenue Service already. In 23 he got Indian Revenue Service. 24 again he attended the interview. They asked him questions about GST because he is in IRS IT. Sorry, he is in IRS Customs. They asked him questions about GST. He kept telling that, sir, I have taken leave from the training. I am not in training, so I do not know specifically. So they tried to ask these kind of things. He did. Then they asked very practical questions. Like, for example, an interviewer told him, I went on a trip to Kanyakumari and people were not accepting UPI. They were telling that give money in hand, right? So what is the reason behind it? So this guy thought that they are trying to grill on the tax code and everything, and he told, sir, I'm not aware of it. So as an officer, he is already an officer. When a situation is put in front of you, at least you are supposed to guess and come up with a conclusion, right? So what the exam, so he came to me, we had interview on the same day. In the during dinner we were discussing about it, and he told that this was the question. So I told that maybe he was expecting that the small traders and small shopkeepers do not want to be paid paid online, because it will be calculated as your taxable income, right? It will be calculated as your taxable income, and they will have to pay GST to the authorities. But if you do physical transaction, nowhere it is registered. This could be the reason, and the small traders do not want to be harassed in this way. So the interviewer was trying to take the interview in that way, right? He wanted to know if it is good to tax rich people, but even small people are getting taxed under GST. Is this good or not? That was what he was expecting. But this guy didn't answer it, right? And when the results came, I checked for his name, and his name was not there. So I didn't talk to him after that, because after result, why to talk? It's very difficult to talk to someone who has not got in the list. But I could make sure that this is the reason. This is the exact reason why he didn't. So you need to be a good conversationist. You need to develop opinions and ideas about everything. Ensure that your opinions and ideas are along the lines of a civil servant, not a normal person, not a person who is in a day-to-day life. Like, for example, if you are from Bangalore, if they are asking you questions about this language issue, why too much enforcement of local language, etc., you have to give an opinion as an Indian, not as a Bangalorean, right? Not as a person from Karnataka. You have to answer from an Indian point of view. You have to tell that such kind of imposition is not good. If there is, the government can always propagate the language. They have to do it. Language is the heritage, language is the culture. According to the Constitution of India, languages are to be promoted. It is there in the directive principles of state policy. It is there in fundamental duties also. But it should not be with force. Given the right incentives, people will obviously learn the language, right? But when there is no incentive, when there is no need, why would a person learn the language? So this is the kind of stand you should take, right? So think everything from an Indian point of view. Think yourself as an officer already. If you want to become an IPS, think that you are an IPS. If you want to become an IAS, think that you are already in IAS and how I will deal with this problem. If there is a problem in your locality, think as an IAS officer, what can I do? How can I resolve this? And that kind of questions are asked in your interview and in ethics paper also, right? So I think I have given a basic idea about all the papers and interview also. Apart from this, if you have any question in general about anything related to preparation, your day-to-day issues you are facing, problems you are facing, anything, you can ask me. As I told, I have had a very lengthy time with this preparation, so I think I can help you.
Like my question relates to it, so because we are engineering.
Huh.
Even I am pursuing engineering in computer science.
Okay.
But coding is not always has always not been my cup of tea. I don't like to go into the tech field to begin with. But this thing which always sometimes confuses me is that after graduation, whether should I completely focus on preparing for UPSC civil services or get a job and then do simultaneously, because we have done both, right? And even if I want to look for a job, I would need to look for any other government exams.
Okay.
That's what. How to
So you are in your final year now.
Third year.
You are in your third year. Uh, if you have a financial background where you can sit and prepare for a minimum of 2 to 3 years, and if your family is really supportive, my advice would be don't do anything else. Just focus on UPSC, because you have this advantage of starting early, right? Even during your college time, you have started. At least you can finish your optional subject and NCRTs in this 2 years, right? Even if not optional subject, you can finish all your NCRTs, right? So at least this much you can do in the 2 years. So by the time you finish your college, you already have an advantage. Make use of it. This is for everyone. If you have good family support, if you have good financial background, what I would suggest is think that you are going to be sitting and preparing for the next 3 years. Let us assume that you are going to clear in first attempt, but there is a lot of luck factor too in this, right? Like as I told, this year my bad luck, anthro got screwed up, right? And I got lesser score. uh, if I had got lesser score in other subjects also, I would not be in the list, but somehow I got in. So this can happen a lot of time, right? So the first time I went for my interview, I actually did very well in my mains. For my interview, I did a very stupid mistake. During your interview, you are supposed to take some passport size photos with you. They will just have your DAF and a passport size photo. The chair and the board members, they are not supposed to know anything about you. So before you enter 5 minutes, they will just have a look at your DAF. They'll have a photo. So the rule that is given is the photo should have been taken 10 days prior to your interview. Minimum of 10 days is the rule. I didn't read that. And I had a photo which was like 2 years old, right? I went into the interview. The first question the chairman asked me is this you? I said, yes, ma'am, that's me. And then she said, but you look very different in this. I don't think it's a recent photograph. So I, being a person who is generally good at talking, I just came up with an answer. I told that, ma'am, in the recent times I have put on a little weight, so maybe because of that I look a little different. I managed it. She actually had a laugh. She was like, she told that, okay, that means this UPSC exam is putting too much stress on people. That's why people are increasing their weight. She laughed about it. But obviously, she understood that I was lying. And she understood that it's a uh, old photograph. I did very well in my interview. I was expecting that I'm going to get 180 plus, but the actual marks were 152 or something. When the marks came, I understood that I got punished for this, right? So that is again luck factor is there. So what I would suggest is these days the competition has increased a lot. For at least 2 to 3 years, don't think about your backup or anything. Just fix in your mind that I'm going to do it. See, you have a lot of interest. That's why you have started preparing during your college, right? So don't worry about your career or backup or anything. At least for the first one attempt, don't keep any backup. Just think that this is what I want. If you don't clear your first attempt and at that point of time if you feel like I really am in need of a job, you can take a job, but at least for one attempt don't do it, right? Because first attempt is very difficult. You have to prepare a lot of things, and you might end up like me, unless and until you are a person who has very high IQ. So I have some friends who cleared in the very first attempt. These people have extremely good IQ. They remember each and every point. They read something, they remember it forever. They can quote the exact data, etc. So that is a different category. We can't consider ourselves as that category. We are average people. At least I'm an average person. So I can't put myself in that category. So I need to study a lot, revise a lot, give a lot of test series, etc. You can't do it with a job, man. For at least for first attempt, you can't. So for first attempt, you don't do it. After that, you can think about a backup and everything.
Does the same thing go for masters as well?
If you again the same thing, masters is again like a job only, right? You will have to spend a lot of time there. At least one attempt you can do without. After that, you can go for a masters. Obviously, you can do it. At least one attempt. Just do it with complete focus. Uh, give whatever time you have to give. So when I prepare without any other job or anything other than my time for the basic needs, I used to just study, nothing else. Don't go anywhere, nothing, no break, nothing, just sit and study. That's something this exam is expecting from you, so you have to do it.
Mistakes made by you which
Yeah, so one of the major mistakes is that I didn't give enough time. That is my major mistake. I had my own reasons for that. That was unavoidable, but not giving enough time is one thing. Second thing, not preparing for prelims and mains together. So when you are preparing, you have to prepare for both prelims and mains together. Uh, Third thing is not writing enough tests. For prelims, I knew that I was good at it. I didn't need any tests. But for mains, everyone needs to write. No one will clear mains without writing anything. So you need to write good amount of tests, at least for mains. So these three are the important things. And another one big mistakes I did is I took a very big break. I got into a job and then I thought that I would not come back. And I for 1 year break is fine, but I gave a break for 3 years, which is actually big. I could have reduced it, but again, circumstances and situations, right? But major mistakes which generally people do, I'll tell you. This is the most important point. Reading multiple resources, right? For every subject, reading 4 or 5 books. Overloading with information. Don't do that. As I told about Russia-Ukraine issue. Very minimal, right? If you read about the issue of, for example, Israel and Palestine, it will go on for 10-15 pages. People will, I know some people, some students, I used to guide students also. Students will talk about 1962 war, 1945 war. Why would you need that? UPSC is not going to ask you those questions. They are just going to ask about the borders map. Recently, if there was any place in news, there are certain accords like Abraham Accord is there. They are not just going to ask these questions, basics, right? So don't overload yourself. Don't read multiple resources. Keep the resources minimal. Revise it multiple times. Don't overload with information. Just have the information which UPSC is expecting you to have. That's it. And make notes, at least for the important topics for mains. For mains, you have the complete syllabus given. For each and every syllabus, make notes for the entire syllabus. Just 2 to 3 pages notes. That's it. Read optional from the beginning. Don't think that I'll do optional later. Don't think that I'll do mains later. Everything goes hand in hand. Do everything from the beginning. These are the basic mistakes people do. Very brilliant people don't clear because of these things, right? If you don't do these kind of mistakes, you will obviously get good score.
Sir, what's your view on history as an optional?
Do you have history honors as your bachelor's? Then don't go for it, because history optional is generally not scoring in nature. It's very, very difficult to score good marks unless you have extreme interest in history. And if you are like, I will spend any amount of time in reading history, I love the subject. Unless you are that kind of a person, don't go for history as an optional. Very difficult to score marks. And too much of competition is there.
Sir, I feel like the test play a very important role during your preparation because it helps you to analyze where you stand and where you don't. So just wanted to understand what was your strategy to analyze the test, because I have some strategy which I have borrowed from my JE preparation, but
Okay.
I feel that might not be the right fit for this preparation. But just
For
kindly.
tests, for prelims, it's very easy. You just need to answer the questions. That's it. You just need to know what is the demand of the question, how the question is framed, whether you are able to come up with the correct answer. That's it. So if you are able to score around 100 in your prelims mock test, you are in a good position. You don't have to worry about anything. When it comes to mains, all you need to know is you need to see whether you are able to write similar to that of a topper, right? So too many people have already cleared the exam. They have put their mains answer sheets, etc., in the out there in the web. So you just need to compare. So what I used to do is I used to download toppers copies. I used to take the same question. I will write answers, and after writing answer, I'll compare my answer with his or her answer and see what difference is there, right? So this is one thing you can do for test. That's it, and nothing else. And after prelims, obviously, you will take a good test series, you will write a test, you will get it analyzed, you have mentors here, they will give the opinions, they will give their ideas, etc. So that is, again, that is there, that is different. Other than that, self analysis is the most important. So you take topper's copy, analyze it, see whether you are able to write in the same lines. And when you are going for topper's copy, go to the recent toppers. Don't take someone who has written in 2017 18, because that is outdated now. Exam keeps evolving, writing style and everything keeps changing. So this is the type of analysis you need, right?
Sir, it's like preparing for prelims and mains at a time is like just writing the answers and analyzing it, or else is there something other than it?
No, writing answers. So for example, if you go to some websites which are giving current affairs, right? So a lot of websites give daily current affairs, right? So they will also add one or two mains question in it. So you read the current affairs, you write answers, practice it. That's it. So you need to practice it according to the time. So for a 10-mark question, you have to finish it within 6 to 7 minutes. For a 15-mark question, you have to finish it within 9 minutes. So are you able to write it within the required time? Are you able to write it according to the demand? Or what you can do is, if you are completing your polity, right? Polity comes under GS2. So you can take previous year GS2 papers, you can write answers to it. You have mentors here, you can just give it to them and tell them to evaluate, see what opinion they are giving, right? So something you have to do because writing is very difficult. Uh, Finding answer for MCQs is very easy, right? You can read the question, you can find answer, you are going to just mark it. But writing is very difficult. It's a art to write it in a particular way with good handwriting, good presentation within the particular time limit. So this is why I tell you need to start from the beginning, right? Take guidance of people who have experience. This is something which is very important. uh, you are studying in an institute, you have your mentors also, so make use of it. They have experience, so make use of it. It will help you very well, right? Anything else? Any big problems you are facing in preparation? Oh, time management with job is very difficult, man. I can totally understand it because I have been there. It's extremely difficult. I was in a full-time job. I was working 10 hours per day. Other than that, I used to travel from my place to office. Used to take half an hour in the morning, half an hour to in the evening times it takes 1 hour. Very like staying out of home, you have to manage your everything, food and everything. So it is very difficult. But if you have to do it, you have to do it. There is no other option, right? So you have to find some time and try to manage during weekends. Have to do a lot of sacrifice. Don't don't go on trips or parties and all these things. Just sit at home and study. Trust me, it is worth it. You cannot the amount of experience you will get after clearing, the amount of respect and everything you will get, you will feel like everything was worth it. I started in 2017. For the last 7 years I was just going through all kind of sufferings, nothing else, no output at all. Once the result came, everything changes, right? Everyone will come to your home, your MLA, counselor, everyone will come. Too many felicitations, every institute will call you, government will felicitate, your chief minister is going to felicitate, and your life is set now. On 20th of this month I'm going to Labasna. For the next 3 months my training will be there in Masuri, and after that my training in parent academy will be there. So I'm going to get a good accommodation, a vehicle. All these things are perks. That apart, the work you are going to do is going to impact the people, right? Whatever work you are this is the only job in this country where you don't have to do anything particular. You don't have to do, you don't have to think that I have to do something good for the people. You just go to your job and do what is required. That itself is going to be a service to the people, right? Let's say you are something like a a revenue service officer. You just go there, do your work. Your work is to get the taxes. That taxes is going to help the people of the country, right? The more taxes you collect, the more resource the government have. Government is going to spend it on the poorest of the poor people in the country, right? So this is the civil service is the only job where your basic job itself is service to the people. You are going to get paid for it. Other than that, you can take extra effort and do a lot of things. That is totally different, right? uh, but this kind of an opportunity you will never get, and the amount of recognition and respect and all these things, it's like totally different. But obviously that is again something which others might not get. You can be in a corporate and get 3 4 lakhs 5 lakhs per, even 1 crore per month, but people might not know you. You won't have that much respect and recognition in the society, and that matters a lot. Not to everyone, but if you have come here and if you are sitting here and attending the classes, that matters to you. You need to have a backup, right? So this is why I told, this is actually a good question. If not qualified, then what will we do? For the first two attempts minimum, don't think about backup, right? In the first attempt, you should think that I will clear. At least for the first two attempts, don't think about any backup or anything. After that, you have to think about backup, and you have to think that if not cleared, what will I do? I will do some other exams. I'll do state exams, or I'll do bank exams, or I'll start a business. I'll do this, do that, whatever it is. But that is expected of you, because see, in 2024, 15 lakh people appeared for the applied for the exam. 15 lakh people applied for the exam. I think around 7 to 8 lakh people, 8 or 10 lakh people appeared for the exam for just 1,000 posts, right? So it doesn't matter whether you are the most extremely talented person or not. They are going to select just 1,000 people. Even a small bit of bad luck is going to ruin your chances, right? That day what happens, it matters a lot. So we can't tell anything. Try your best in the initial attempts. The initial attempts give you the best options, so best chances of clearing, and you won't feel like I've been through a lot of problems or struggles. So in the beginning you don't have to. Later you think about a backup. That's required.
You mentioned that you have a hobby of watching movies. I have the similar hobby. Just wanted to check, like during your preparation, did you escape that or
No, I used to watch movies every day.
same with me? Like I cannot escape it, and I feel like I am wasting my time there. I feel, but I know I am not wasting because I also do the same thing. I watch documentaries or some like majorly artistic movie or thriller films. Like
Okay.
that's the genre. But फिर भी वो
So
आता है सब कुछ
what I used to do is, I used to study. When I used to have my food, I used to watch like 20-25 minutes. That's it. Before sleeping, I'll watch for 10-15. I don't watch it at a stretch. Just watch it, right? That is going to give some calmness to your mind, and it is going to actually help you ease the pressure. So have to do it. So this is the reason why they expect you to have a hobby. If there is someone who has mentioned that you don't have a hobby, they feel like what kind of life you are having. You are just studying for an entire time without a hobby. How can a person be, right? So they give too much importance to hobby. Hobby is very important. Have to do it.
And like suppose for CSAT, is it required to have very good mental ability or else?
No,
I
no.
am having pretty decent.
Very basic school level, just 10th class level. That's it.
That factor doesn't matter. Though I am doing engineering, but I still say
Doesn't matter at all. You look at the questions, you will understand. They will give out of 80 questions, 30 questions are from English. Just comprehend, just a passage and question, passage and question. That's it. Nothing else. So English is very easy. If you are from an English medium, you don't have to worry about it. Reasoning is extremely easy. Aptitude is a little difficult, but again, it is a qualifying paper. You are just supposed to get 67 marks out of 200, which is very easy. So you just need 10th class level knowledge. That's it. Not more than that. People miss out because they follow the wrong strategies. So what generally people do is they spend too much time in reading passages, so which you are not supposed to do. If you are not getting answer for a particular question, you are supposed to just leave it and move on to the next question. But some people can't move on, right? They will keep on that question, they will spend 10 minutes 15 minutes in one question, so they don't clear. Everyone has the ability, just that they do these mistakes, they don't clear CSAT.
So motivation. I mean, because like I know lack behind while studying.
Okay, see, motivation is very simple. I am someone who believe in self motivation, right? You actually don't need any extra motivation. So motivation is whatever I have told, like what happens after you clear. That's it, right? You get things which you won't get in any other job. That is one thing. Second thing, you can do uh, things which can impact the people directly, right? You can there is one of my friend who was posted as an IAS officer in Chhattisgarh, this Maoist region. So he used to finish his job, he used to go to the tribals and he used to take classes to the students. So because of that guy, a lot of kids got more involved in studies. They don't even have good teachers there. They started getting books from outside, and too many NGOs started supporting them. Now these students are studying very well. If there were no initiative from the government side, they would have taken to violence and these kind of things. So these kind of opportunity, not just in IAS, in any service you get, even if you are in postal service, right? There is a service called Indian Postal Service. Generally people don't prefer it because postal department is going down, there is no much scope, they think that there is no much scope. But now there is postal payments bank, right? In the rural places only postal payments bank work, because postal department has this reputation of serving to each and every part of the country, right? So just imagine how good it is, right? So some postal service officer came out with that idea, right? So these kind of things only civil servants can do, right? And another thing, you are if you are from a middle class family, right? So there is all something called as middle class trap, right? If you are in Bangalore, you get around 2 lakhs per month, you are still a middle class person. Actually you are a lower middle class person, right? It's not sufficient, and if you have a family, right? So if you have to come out of that trap, a very good way for it is government job, right? Civil services, the government will take care of everything. This is from a personal point of view. What I told earlier is from a public point of view. You will be a leader forever. People will look at you as an example. You clear the exam, you are in that entire region, everyone will go and tell their children that you have to be like that guy, right? So you will be a motivation to people. You go anywhere, you will have respect. You go wherever, people will look at you in a very different way. The perception completely changes. You are going to handle a very big workforce. Like for example, there is a service called Indian Railway Management Service. IRMS is such a powerful service. An entire railway division comes under you, right? So, for example, if you are posted in Bangalore, Bangalore and the surrounding entire railway stations comes under you. How many people work? Railway is the highest employer, biggest employer in the country. How many people use railways as a source in a day? How many people work in Indian Railways? You are going to impact their life. Your decisions are going to change things about everyone, right? You can make the place a better place to work, you can make the place a better place to live. So the nation is growing even after such big corruption and problems, only because we have good civil service. There are corrupt officers, obviously, that is anyways there, but there are officers who are excellent. That is the reason the system is continuing in a good way and the country is growing in the right path. You can be a part of it. What more motivation do you want,
So,
right?
I mean, I was telling a different question. I mean, start
Okay.
tired of studying after
Got it, got
preparing
it.
CSE.
So this is something that should not happen. Um, it should not happen because see, this is not a school or any other competitive exam. Here you should be motivated throughout. I know that it is very frustrating and sitting and studying for a long time is uh, very exhausting in nature, right? So this is why you feel tired and everything. But if you have to do it, if you have to become a civil servant, this is something that has to be done, and you are supposed to do it, right? So get over all those things. You can take a small break. You cannot be a machine and do the same thing again and again. So what I used to do is I used to go on small trips, right? I like to ride bikes a lot, so I used to take my bike and an entire day I'll go on a bike ride to some nice place and come back. So I'll feel fresh in my mind. I'll do so 2 months. I'll prepare. I'll have a small trip over 1 or 2 days. I'll come back and I'll study. So you need to find a way to keep your mind sane and at the same time keep studying. That's important, right? So try to find out your own way of coping up, but continuous preparation is very very important. Have to do that. Okay. Anything else? Anyone?
Last question, sir. After cut shorting, almost like meticulous planning, I have come to just two options, sir.
Okay.
One is socio and one is answer.
Okay.
Because I found I had
And
gone
you
through
are from engineering background.
I
Okay.
had gone through syllabus of all the subjects. Sociology I found it good.
Okay.
Anthropology I was preferring because, like you said, it was becoming more famous,
Mm-hmm.
and it is very much static.
Mm.
And one plus point was that I had taken biological, so I have pretty much basic idea of gene and everything. But
Okay.
that's what I'm still in a dilemma whether to take.
Are you good in memorizing?
That's not multiple revision is the key for that.
No, no, no. Are you good in really memorizing? Not multiple revisions and everything. Are you good in memorizing and remembering the facts?
Facts, okay, sir, I'm pretty decent. But my inclination has been always towards theoretical subject or biology for that matter.
Okay. So the thing about anthro is there are certain topics which are memory oriented. There is a topic called archaeology, right? So whatever you were telling about genes and everything you must have studied in your school, that is physical anthro. That is more analytical in nature. That is really interesting. That is one of the reason I also selected anthro. But there is a topic called archaeological anthropology, which generally talks about archaeology, uh, how the human beings evolved from the time of beginning of mammals until now. So we study about multiple different species, their fossils, and here it is 100% factual in nature, right? For example, there is a species called Neanderthals. So if you are studying about Neanderthal, you need to know what are the different variants of Neanderthals. 4 or 5 different variants of Neanderthals are there. Their entire specification you need to know. So Neanderthals, what is the cranial capacity? Exact number 1100 to 1200 cc. Then how was the nose? How was the teeth? What is the number of teeth they had? What was the height? Everything, places, geography, everything. So why I'm telling this is, in the recent times, because a paper has become very difficult to score, when you select questions from archaeological anthro, because in optional you have options to select, right? So there is a choice to select. If you are selecting questions from archaeological anthro and right, you are going to score good marks, right? Now a person with very good memory power has a upper hand here, right? Again, whenever a subject is becoming difficult to score, memory is the key, because you write points which others are not writing, you are going to score good marks. So if you have to write points which others are not writing, you need to memorize a lot of things. So this time actually what I did is, whenever I used to write a case study or example, I mentioned which particular anthropologist gave this case study in which year. Each and every year I mentioned. Even after that I got just 242. Right? So this is why I told that you need good memory power. So you think about it a little bit. It's a completely personal decision. Uh, Maybe next year anthro can score well, sociology can go down. Anything can happen because sociology again is a famous subject where good amount of resources are available. So give importance to your interest. If you are good at biology and if you are thinking that I can memorize and I can diagrams is very important in anthro. You have to draw a lot of diagrams. If you are feeling that I can memorize and I can draw diagrams and I can sit and collect some extra points on my own by doing a little bit of research on Google and everything, why not? You can go for it, right? But think a little bit before deciding. Okay.
So as you said, it requires a lot of memory or practical things. What about the people who will analyze and logically, which subject will suit more?
For people who, what's your background?
CSE computer science.
Okay, then you can't go for engineering. PSIR. PSIR is very good for from an analytical point of view, because you look at, for example, you are looking at this, let's say, Israel-Palestine relationship, right? So if they are asking you for solution, instead of giving some general normal solution, if you are coming out with an out of the box solution for it, you can write it and you are going to get good. You are going to be rewarded for it. In subject like anthro and sociology, there is no scope for analysis. You read the theory, you mention it. That's it. Content is there. Already someone has done a research, you just mention it. But PSIR is a subject where you can, analyze. Engineering, amazing subject for people with analytical mind. If you are from mechanical or electrical or civil engineering, you can go for those particular subjects also. But other than that, from an analytical point of view and a little interesting point of view, PSIR is good. Can go for it. Right.
Sir, how to manage GS and any engineering optional? Just like for me, maths, planning to take
Mathematics.
mathematics. So I did well in JE also with maths only.
You should go for it, yeah.
So, but sir, is there normalization for maths? Because if we get proper answer, so they will not give you 10 out of 10 for all questions.
Normalization is there for every paper, not just for maths. Normalization is there for each and every paper. They'll try to make sure all the optional scores are almost similar. So, for example, if you are writing the correct answer in each and every question of maths, even then you won't be able to score extremely high marks. They will pull down your marks a little bit. They have some method to do it. But one good advantage in maths, if you have very good hold in mathematics, if you are someone who feel that I can solve the questions, no matter how much difficult it is, I can solve the question, you can score around 300, which is extremely high, right? So mathematics is like a make or break subject. So either you end up getting 290 to 300, or you end up getting 240 and lesser than that, for which selection becomes very difficult, right? So if you are very confident about yourself, don't think about anything else, just go for maths. If you are good at it, you will score good.
And sir, GS part, GS 1, 2, at least ethics, essay, and optional three subjects we can target. But GS 1, 2, 3, how much time we should give there and how much for optional? Because maths optional is also very lengthy. It's up to MSc level.
Yes, yes, yes. You have to give most time for optional. For example, if you have cleared your prelims, if you are preparing for mains, 3 to 4 hours you have to give for maths optional, and around 20 days you have to give for ethics. Rest of the time you give for your uh, other GS papers, because in GS papers you can answer even if you have not prepared. They are going to expect you to write a general answer. So even if you are not very well prepared, you can answer. If you are very well prepared, you are going to get good marks. If you are not very well prepared, you are going to get average marks, right? But you will get good marks only in ethics and optional subject, right? Just ethics and optional subject, nothing else. So you have to spend around 3 to 4 hours in your optional every day after prelims, I'm telling. And for ethics, you need to do more writing. rather than spending more time in your GS1, GS2, GS3. Spend more in ethics. Second, apart from this, the third most important should be given to GS2. GS2 because it has polity and international relation, and the questions are expected in the expected lines. They give good marks. Scoring very well in GS1 and GS3 is very difficult. So you need to put a lot of effort for it. So the best smart work to do is optional, ethics, GS2. This should be the focus.
To choose a topic from newspapers. I like to read newspapers. I end up choosing 10 to 12 topics.
10 to 12 topics is a little too much. So you need to first memorize your syllabus. Memorize the entire syllabus of UPSC of all the 4 GS papers. If you get a news related to that topic, you read that topic. That's it. Right. Nothing else. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube on how to make notes from newspaper. Just go for a good video done by some topper and you will get an idea how to do it. Right. Anything else? Both. There should be a balance of both. Yeah. Again, see, you need to have the content. Now, if I tell, because you have not done ethics, you won't be able to understand it. So the thing is, you need to know the syllabus completely. You need to read the entire content. Once you read it, just analyze, take previous year topper's copy. You will get an idea how to write. It's just how you write it. That's it. Right. So for now, don't think much about it. Finish your basic subjects. Later, you can focus on those things. Right. Anything else? Shall we conclude? All right. All the best. All the best for all of you. Do well, and I hope you clear. And just keep yourself motivated throughout. Even if it takes a little extra time, it's completely worth it. Give the extra time. I hope you get there. Okay. All the best. Thank you.